First of all, I was born under a Mercury in retrograde, so they don't actually affect me as much. They kind of feel comfortable. But retrograde, RE, they say anything you can redo, redefine, recreate, redecorate, put a re in front of it. And so to go back, don't blame astrology, but understand what's going on, and then you can work with it.
Welcome to the Be It Till You See It podcast, where we talk about taking messy action, knowing that perfect is boring. I'm Lesley Logan, Pilates instructor and fitness business coach. I've trained thousands of people around the world, and the number one thing I see stopping people from achieving anything is self-doubt. My friends, action brings clarity, and it's the antidote to fear. Each week, my guests will bring bold, executable, intrinsic, and targeted steps that you can use to put yourself first and be it till you see it. It's a practice, not a perfect. Let's get started.
Welcome back to the Be It Till You See It interview recap, where my co-host in life, Brad, and I are going to dig into the validating convo I had with Mary and Kate Swick in our last episode. If you haven't yet listened to that one, you need to make time for that episode and maybe listen to it twice. I think Brad listened to it 3 times.
2.5 times.
2.5 times.
Yep.
So holy freaking moly, there's a lot of information. Grab your notebook, maybe even look at the transcript of it, because you can go to your sun sign, or Mary and Kate often talk about your rising sign, and you can just like copy and paste what they're saying, because they gave a lot of information. But before we get into that, today is January 2nd, 2025, and it's National Personal Trainer Day. And because I'm a Pilates instructor, I think we just need a Pilates instructor, yoga instructor. It's your national, it's whoever is the
We're gonna adjust it from personal trainer to fitness trainer.
Yeah, whoever is your personal person taking care of you, and OPC can be that person for you. So we're going to celebrate me. So to be honest, I think they really phoned it in when they came up with holidays for January 2nd.
Yeah,
and
right.
We really went through, and this is the best one that didn't have like, motivate yourself, go do the thing. Like, that language is no longer allowed here. So National Personal Trainer Day is an annual day of observance on January 2nd. When many people start working toward their New Year fitness resolutions. Just so you know, we are not saying that you need to do that. Personal trainers guide, motivate, and train you to exercise correctly. Yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do. Without them, many injuries can happen due to bad form or incorrect use of the equipment, so they are vital, often overlooked part of society. Personal trainers should get the credit they deserve for the great work that they do. Yes.
Yes, they should.
I should. And also at OPC, we don't do like one-on-one stuff anymore. We do provide feedback on your form just by submitting a video.
Did we ever?
No, we never
Right,
did.
we never did.
But I did. I used to.
Yeah, okay. But you aren't OPC.
That's true. I am not OPC. That's true.
Hey.
Hey.
Congrats.
Congratulations. To me. Okay, so we're not even home yet. So just so you know, we're
a solid week away from being home.
We're like definitely somewhere in the panhandle right now.
Yeah.
But we're going to come home at some point, and then we're going to head to
I think
Cambodia.
we're in Pensacola.
Mm-hmm.
Probably on the way to New Orleans.
We're definitely doing a class in Pensacola, and tomorrow is a class in New Orleans. Yes.
Yep.
New Orleans is sold out, so don't even try. At this point, you can.
Pensacola, I think, has a couple left in the class. But
At the time we're recording this, the class had some spots. Austin has some spots in the workshops. Dallas has some spots in the workshops, and Lubbock has some spots in the workshops. But that's it. So, and that's also
how about Phoenix?
Phoenix at this point has 3 spots left in the workshops. But you guys, we are 34 days away from those places. So they could be sold out by the time you're hearing this.
It's very true.
But just reach out, because you never know. You know.
Never know.
You could be waiting.
Go to opc.me/tour. Come check it out.
So when we come back, we're going to Cambodia in February. And we have announced, it says we've just announced October.
When we're listening to this, no, the announcement for October hasn't come up just yet, but it will be.
Yeah.
It should probably be on the website, y'all. But basically, we're going to be putting out an offer to the people on the wait list. So go to lesleylogan.co/retreats, plural, and add yourself to the wait list so you can get the special offer. Well, it's our early bird special. So if you want to check out what's going to happen in October, the dates are the 12th through the 17th, 12th through the 18th, 13th through the 18th, something like that. Middle of October of this year, 2025. What? We're going to be making that big announcement only to the people on the wait list. So if you're on social, we won't be talking about it.
Only people on the wait list will get that early bird discount and get the invite. And last October, it sold out from the wait list.
Yeah.
So just so you know.
We had the biggest group we ever took, and we literally had to bump people to February because it just went immediately. And that was really exciting and incredible. So if you are thinking about it at all, make sure you check out those dates and come join us. And as you all heard us talk about, back in November, we drove to Los Angeles. Lesley did this incredible week of prepping for the guillotine photo shoot.
Pictures.
Yeah, we did 1,100 photos for the new upcoming flashcards, accessories
been
deck.
Going through on the tour. I'm sure at some point by now, when this comes out, I will have sat down and picked the pictures for this deck, and I am supposed to have been done writing by now. So
yeah, we'll see.
We're going to project all of that because we're trying to actually go on pre-sale earlier than we usually do. Usually we go on pre-sale in May or June, and we're trying to hit that April, March.
Yeah. And here's why we're trying to avoid hurricane season in Florida.
Yeah. These are things you have to think about when
they ship.
Yeah. When you're a business owner, you have to think about things you never thought about before. So you need to go to opc.me/flashcard waitlist to get on the waitlist because only those people on the waitlist get the pre-sale price, and the pre-sale price is the best price that deck will ever have. ever.
If you are feeling stuck in your Pilates business or you're really worried about this year, my name is Brad. I talk a lot about how do you grow a small business, especially a fitness business, especially a Pilates business. So if any of that makes any sense to you, if you're like, okay, it's January, I need to capitalize on this wave of people wanting to get back into the studio, but I'm not quite sure how to connect with those people. You don't know how to get new clients, or you're worried about the money, come join me for a free webinar. When we get back home the following week, I'm going to be hosting a free webinar called the Pilates Studio Growth Accelerator. And in that webinar, I'm going to be revealing 3 massive secrets that Lesley and I have put together after coaching more than 2,500 businesses over the last 7 years. Because this year, this January, right now, it is agency's 7th year. Holy cow. That is unbelievable. I can't believe that.
It's insane.
Yeah, we kicked it off in 2018. So that's amazing. Anyway, go to profit.biz/accelerator. That's profit without the O, .biz/accelerator, and join me for the free webinar. And then finally.
Okay, so you guys are
drum roll, please.
Okay.
Okay.
We are going to do a spring training at OPC, and it's going to be online. It's going to be something you can do live with us. There'll be some replay action.
This is like going to be a big event. This isn't going to be like, oh, join us for a 1-hour workshop. No, this is like
a week-long event.
Yep.
Something similar to what you used to do 4 years ago, but we're going to include all the OPC teachers, multiple different pieces of equipment. So no matter what you have access to, there's going to be part of this event that is for you.
Yeah, no summer camp this year. Okay,
no.
We're going to do the spring training instead of the summer camp.
Yeah. You know why? If you were listening to the pod, we kept confusing summer camp and summer tour. And we decided that we need to change the season. And
it's true.
I was born and raised in a baseball family. Brad talks about the football family, but you may not know my grandfather was actually a professional baseball player. And so spring training is
He played for the Philadelphia Eagles, right?
Yep.
I just hit my head on my guitar.
Yep, he did. And the he meaning Brad. No, my grandfather played for the St. Louis Cardinals. He was a catcher. So we're going to do spring training. It's going to be end of April into May. And I want you to get on the wait list because something special will happen for the people on the wait list. We'll make sure. We always put things special on wait lists. So you always just want to be on wait list.
Just be on the wait list.
And we don't bug you. We just remind you what's coming out once a month so you don't forget about it. So go to opc.me/events, opc.me/events.
Yeah, by the way, I just want to say, the wait list is different from our newsletter list. So if you get our weekly newsletters, that's great. Different from the wait list where we specifically talk about the events that you may have been wanting.
Yeah, if you're like interested in what our spring training is going to be, then you're going to want to be on the wait list because we won't talk about it on the newsletter until whatever special was on the wait list is over.
Yeah, and I'm not encouraging you to do this, but if you're like, oh my God, you send me a lot of emails, you don't need to be on the newsletter list, but you can still be on the wait list.
Yeah.
Possible.
I mean, I write good emails. I'm just going to say it.
You do.
They're all come from me, and they're not ChatGPT. We're not even using my bot to write them. So,
it's true. It's true. opc.me/events, plural. opc.me/events. Get yourself on the wait list, and we'll be letting you know about spring training.
Also, that wait list also lets you know about all OPC events. That includes tours. So there's good stuff on that.
Yep. Love it. All right.
Before we talk about Mary and Kate, we have a lot to get into. We do have an audience question.
Yes, we do. Okay. Lisa Hansen 6014 from YouTube says, hey, in the shoulder bridge exercise, difference in pointing and flexing?
Okay.
I don't even know. This doesn't really mean anything to me.
So don't worry, it means nothing to a lot of people. So in the shoulder bridge exercise on the mat, you actually point the foot up. When you kick the leg up, you point.
I know exactly.
Yes, I know you do.
But you go up pointed and down flexed?
Yeah. Do you remember why?
Snap. Well, probably about this stretch
Yeah.
that it creates when you do it.
Great job.
Hey, nailed it. Logic.
So in Pilates.
Sorry, Lisa.
Yeah. So Lisa asked this, and also her further questions that came from this was like, well, my foot cramps when I point it. So here's the deal. In Pilates, when you point, it is actually to help you get length in the front of your leg because the hip flexor is going to want to try to jump in there. And when you flex, it's to help you have more access on the way down. It's to help you have more access to the hamstring and glute. Allows you to push into something. When you flex in the roll up and you push your heels down, it gets you more access to those hamstrings, glutes. Why? Because you need them to turn on so you don't overuse your hip flexors.
Yeah,
so
that's actually way better.
Yeah. In side kicks, when you turn the leg out and you point it up, you flex it down. Why do that? You point it up so your hip flexor doesn't try to lift the leg, and you flex it down so you can get more glute and hamstring. So pointing and flexing in Pilates is not choreography. It is about the connection. Now, when you're new to exercises in Pilates, it will feel like you're learning choreography. That's fine. But then there is a point to it.
There
no
is a method to the madness.
Yes. And then just to follow up, if you are someone whose foot or feet cramp when you're pointing them, it tells me you are overusing your foot. And the point and flex is happening from the ankle down and not from the butt down. And so what I would just say is...
Wait, say that one more time.
When you point your foot, if it's cramping, there's a lot of reasons why muscles cramp. You could be lacking magnesium, electrolyte. You could be dehydrated. The muscles could be tired. But specifically in Pilates, if a foot is cramping when it's pointed, in shoulder bridge, for example, she's got one foot on the ground, not cramping, one foot in the air, cramping.
Yeah.
It tells me that she's overusing the foot.
Okay, I just wanted you to say it one more time.
Yeah,
so she's doing what?
Overusing the foot muscle. She's working from the ankle down.
Yeah, that's what I was unclear on.
So your foot is not its own thing. Your foot is part of your butt. So you want to think about that point and flex going from up and down the chain, up and down the whole leg. Again, it's not choreography. It's part of like your whole body. And so when you're new, it's going to be just the ankle. But as you advance and the more she uses her butt, the less her foot will cramp. There's an exercise on the Cadillac called shoulder roll down. If your feet cramp in that exercise, 100%, you're not using your butt. 100% of the time. When you access your ass, your feet stop cramping.
And your thighs.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, great answer.
And also, Lisa became an OPC member because of all these questions.
Hey, Lisa, welcome to the club.
And now I asked her, I said, send me a video of you doing this exercise so I can actually see what's going on. So if you would like me to see how you point and flex your foot and see if you're using your butt or you're just overusing your foot, opc.me/40. Yeah,
go check it out. opc.me/40 and come join the amazing family, the community that we got going on there. Okay, so this is going to be super juicy. Make sure you stick around. We're about to talk about Mary and Kate Swick.
And ourselves.
And they actually read our charts, and we're going to talk about that too. So we'll be right back. Welcome back. All right, now let's talk about Mary and Kate Swick. Kate and Mary Swick are the hosts of Mom, Me, and Astrology, where they bring together traditional and modern astrological insights. Kate, an Aquarius and lifelong student of astrology, combines her studies in modern astrology with a background in energy work and intuitive practices, offering fresh perspectives on innovation, growth, and self-discovery. Side note, she's also went to school for psychology, worked in corporate for a long time, running some spas and stuff, so she's got a lot of interaction with a lot of people. But she grew up with Mary, a Scorpio, brings over 35 years of experience in astrology, making her a trusted guide for navigating major life shifts. Together, they provide guidance on navigating life shifts and understanding planetary influences. Also, not mentioned here is that Mary's husband, Kate's father, also worked as an astrologist as well. So Kate was like around this whole world.
Before the internet and email, like someone would call.
Yeah.
And Mary would be out and there's no answer machines, right? So Kate's like writing down, okay, yes, the North Node thing you said came true.
Yeah, the second month, moon's sun did a backflip, and I don't know anything about things. Clearly, Kate obviously grew up with all of this. And
if any of the things sounded overwhelming, what I have decided since I've met them, and we've known them now 3 years, maybe 4 years, is that just the more you listen to the terms, the more familiar they become, the less it's like learning a new language.
Yeah, sure.
The less overwhelming it is. And the more you study it in yourself, the easier it is for you to understand other things.
Yeah.
And I have to be honest, like the more chaotic the world is, the more I'm like, hold on, what's going on in the moons? Let me see. Because
I haven't wrapped my head around houses yet, but I've got like sun, moon. I'm starting to understand that. But then there's like the planets and the degrees. I don't know anything about that yet, really.
I'm excited because I picked up a journal for this year. And every day there's a way for me to put an entry and it tells me what's going on with the moons and it tells me what's going on with like different things. And it's a way for me to practice. You have to look at your own chart. And I had stickers to put what things are in which house and what degree. And so I feel like just every day I get to spend a little time journaling in this area. Again, what's going to go into what I loved. Astrology is what Mary said. Astrology is very validating. It's not as much predictive as it is a green or yellow light saying go or slow down or pause. And you can use it as a valuable tool to help you see things you might not have noticed about yourself. Or some things like, why do I do that? Like, why am I doing that? Sometimes I find myself going, why do I do that? And then I hear from my chart, like, this is why you do that. And you're like, oh, so it's just like kind of who I am. So I just need to be aware that that's something that I tend to do. And something else that'll come up, we had them read my chart and your chart. And something that came up is that I'm someone who requires a lot of downtime. And I have noticed in the last year, I require a lot of downtime. Like I just do after tours, after things, like I need to lay down on the ground. And I used to think, oh, is there something wrong with my health? There's something wrong I need. And so going back to the validation of it, no, in the chart that I have, it literally says, lay the fuck down. Take time for yourself.
Yeah.
So I really like that. And she's like, it's like having a friend who can give you an opinion or show you something that you didn't see yourself. And I also think that's really cool. We had them read our chart and there's a lot of things that are like moving around that are going on. And every time I show someone my chart who knows astrology, the things they go, oh, wow, you need to stock up on your learning. You've got a lot going on over here. And I'm like, what do I need to learn? But it's not predictive, right? So it can't tell me what I need to learn. But I really enjoyed, in summary, we are in a transition of something going on in our business right now. And what was validating about this is because we're at the end of the 7 years. And so there are a lot of things transitioning because that's how things are working in my chart is a 7-year change and what I need to be doing, what I need to be focusing on. And some things the energy has already started in there. And I was like, oh, this is really validating. And then there was some things that she said was like, hey, you need to look out for this.
Yeah.
Not a beware, but a be aware. And I was just like, oh, that is really good information. And the other thing that I'm glad that they said is you might want to not just rethink collaborations, but also check in with new partnerships, check out new things. There might be someone who is famous or doing this X thing that you can actually like work with. And also there's just some really good stuff, you guys. It basically just says I'm coming into like, the more authentic I can be, the better it is going to be for me. The more that I can manifest, the better it's going to be for me. And so what was so cool about that is I've been thinking I need to be spending more time manifesting what I actually want because that's just something I'm being called to do. And to hear in my chart that it's like, yeah, you're in a manifestation place, go do that. It really helps put the green light on something I'm intrigued by. And I find that to be really cool because it doesn't feel like this random hobby or this distraction. It feels like a direction. I have a lot of new beginnings coming up. That's what they said? Did you hear that in my chart?
Yeah, I mean, you and me both. I'll get into that in just a minute. Okay, first off, one woo Brad over here. This has always been interesting to me, intriguing to me. After having my chart read, I've met Kate multiple times and her partner, Mike, but I have not met Mary. I've not met Mom in person, I don't believe. No. But I have listened to them for a long time.
I know, because you download their podcast.
I do.
You listen to it.
I actually listen to their pod. And the reason is because, first off, I know you're very interested in it. And I just wanted to kind of start to wrap my head around the language of it and kind of, I don't really understand it all the time, but it's fun. They're very sweet and it's easy to listen to. It's not that long. It's pretty informative. It's also not doom and gloom. I don't know. I always imagine movies from the 90s where someone like bases their entire life off of like a 1-paragraph astrological reading in the local newspaper or some bullshit. And then they go change their world for the better or the worse. That's kind of just the understanding I had of astrology. But listening to them talk about it, it's really kind of changed my understanding of it. So in a good way. So anyway, we did decide to do our charts with them. And that was also incredibly revealing to me since I know me better than anybody, right? But before I get into my chart, Kate actually said, hey, the context here, not to blame astrology, but just to understand. She explained that when you go through hard things, you can say, oh, here comes Pluto again, rearing its ugly head, right? And not in a sense of you have no agency,
Mm-hmm.
but it sheds clarity onto things that might be happening in your life or why you might be responding in a specific way. And you might be looking at yourself going, why did I do that? And that doesn't mean that you're off the hook. There's blame astrology. That's not what that is, but it does give you visibility into certain things. So it may be also a reminder that some of these things are temporary because things are shifting and changing.
Yeah. Some planets move really fast, some move really slow. And another example, because some people might not really be familiar with Pluto, although, my God, I've been so fucking aware of Pluto and Aquarius, but I'm very involved. So a lot of people like to blame Mercury in retrograde.
Yeah.
And
Mercury's in retrograde. I've heard that like a billion times.
It happens multiple times a year, which is why you hear it a billion times. And the thing that I love from Mary and Kate is that they've actually really helped me reevaluate what Mercury in retrograde is. First of all, I was born under a Mercury in retrograde, so they don't actually affect me as much. They kind of feel comfortable. But retrograde, RE, they say anything you can redo, redefine, recreate, redecorate, put a re in front of it. And so to go back, don't blame astrology, but understand what's going on, and then you can work with it.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool because, like you said, no agency. You can go, okay, hold on. We are in a retrograde. So yesterday I was trying to move these files. I tried 2 times. It didn't freaking work. And I could have gotten mad or upset because, like, I get frustrated when technology doesn't work for me when it worked like literally an hour ago. And I was just like, you know what? Yeah. I was just like, you know what? It's retrograde. I'm just going to leave that there. I texted the team. I'm like, do you see these files? Because I tried 2 times and I don't see them there, but maybe I can't see them. And they're like, we don't have them. And I was like, okay, I have to redo it tomorrow. I'm not going to get angry about it. I'm just going to redo it tomorrow. And I was like, ooh, retrograde, redo.
Astrology can validate what you're feeling. And we didn't talk about Pluto yet, but we're going to get into that in just a minute. So Kate also said, astrology is not there to tell you that you're being punished. That's not the goal of it. It's, it can help validate what you're feeling. It doesn't take away the emotion of what you're going through, but it can provide a sense of purpose. What you're going through and dealing with is exactly what you are supposed to be dealing with. She said, it's all part of a much larger plan and a much larger cycle, right? For example, we were talking about Pluto. We were talking about Mercury, but we weren't comparing it to Pluto just yet. Mercury in retrograde happens 3 times a year. Pluto, it's like a 20-year cycle, right? And so what was really interesting is when they read my chart and it was the 2 of them talking back and forth to each other for about 30 minutes.
Okay, I'm so curious.
Yeah.
What happened to you at 22? I really wanted to go back and go because I won't bring it up here.
I'll tell you what happened. Okay. In fact, so here's what's crazy. They basically said, hey, Brad, and this was Mary, mom. She said, to be honest, I wish you were here in front of me so that we could meet you face to face because you have a very intriguing chart. She said, I don't think I've read this very many charts over my career, 35 years doing this, very many charts where there were 3 moons or 3 planets at a 0%, 0 degrees. Now, that doesn't mean anything to me. I have no idea what that actually means, but they were very intrigued by this because I was born under a new moon on a specific day in a specific place and whatever the degrees of all the planets
and
were.
You have 3 planets at 0, which means it's like a new beginning, but also you could kind of be either the other sign or this sign.
I could be a chameleon.
Yes. It's really quite crazy. They also said that when you go to a new place, you don't stand out as a tourist. You kind of just are that. And it was, I'm like, yeah.
You're going to let me talk about how excited I am about the chart? Yeah. So, all right. So basically they began to describe me and Mary doesn't know me.
No.
Kate knows me. She actually was using some references of my life, of our life that she's aware of. But Mary doesn't know those references, doesn't know me. And yet she was looking at when I was born and where I was born. And she was describing why I did things I did in high school, which was fascinating to me because you were talking about being a chameleon. When I was in high school, I used to literally blend into all the different crowds. I hated the goths versus the preps versus the jocks. I just thought it was the stupidest thing. So I would wear different clothes every single day as if I was part of a different clique, a different crew. And I had friends in all these different clubs or what social hierarchies or whatever it was high school. And for me, I did it in a cynical way because I thought it was bullshit. So I was like, well, I'm going to break the rules and I'm going to be part of everything. But how funny to hear them talk about how I can do that kind of a thing. And I was doing that when I was like 16. It was really interesting to hear them talk about how I'm probably very intrigued about travel and about understanding the world and about different cultures and all that stuff. And that could not be more spot on.
Yeah.
It is literally my driving purpose in literally life. I always say travel is my drug of choice.
Yeah. Yeah, and they also said next year has a lot of travel, and it freaking does.
It does.
You are trying to squeeze a Belize trip in a really crazy time, and I'm like, can we squeeze it into this quarter? Can we do that?
I have more coming that she doesn't know about.
I know, but I also really loved that they brought up something about Brad. He's, oh yeah, let's go to this thing, and I'm like, okay, I'll go. And then he's like, oh, while we're over here, let's go to this thing. And I'm like, that was not on the plan. And we got to drop off these 3 things before 12 o'clock at the FedEx. And it's, what are you talking about? I thought we were just going to get lunch and now you're adding 3 things. And they freaking brought that up in the chart. I swear to God. I mean, I know it's not psychic, but it's definitely validating. And again, yes, Kate has met you several times. We've hung out, we've gone to dinner, but not like every quarter.
No, maybe once a year over the past 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
But
we have to send Mary a picture of you. Like, I think she would be so.
I feel like, I'm sure Kate pulled up a photo of us.
Yeah.
It was really just interesting. I lean towards an addictive personality where when I commit to something, I go 1,000% in on that thing. I love to travel. I'm really good at showing a front and not sharing what's behind. Right. So that's also the way I always thought about it, is that's how I was raised. No one ever sees what's actually going on behind the curtain. Maybe that's also just how I am. My interest in language, education, my inclination towards technical stuff, just fascinating to me. And then what we never actually circle back around to, and I want to finish with here before we move on, is Pluto. They said that somehow, I don't really understand it, but Pluto is affecting 10 of the planets in my chart. And that cycle, that 20-year cycle, is concluding right now. And next year is going to be a very interesting transitional time for me.
I have to look at your chart. It sounds like maybe 10-year planets must have been like in Capricorn or something like that.
I have a Capricorn rising, and I never even knew that. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
no, you have
I
Cap rising.
means,
I have Gemini rising. We got to look what your moon is, but yeah.
This was really interesting that they were talking about some of the things that they were forecasting for me for next year during this transition period. I've already been doing them. Literally this past year, I can't remember the specifics now, but there was like 3 or 4 things where I was like, oh, that's already started. I've already started to shift out of some of the roles that I've held in the company for a really long time. I've already started to make decisions on what I want to be doing in the company. And this kind of started 6-8 months ago. So it's just funny that there's stuff going on in my world that they had no idea.
Yeah.
Yet they were talking about it as if they did.
They gave me some specific dates, and
kind of amazing.
I'm not going to lie. I'm aiming for one of those to be the accessories launch card date, because this is a great day to launch them. I think so too. Obviously, this is not a commercial for Mary and Kate, but what I hope is an awareness of take a look at these things, because it can feel like your world is uncertain and chaotic. And maybe it is chaotic.
I mean, especially politically now.
Yeah.
When the day this comes out, we're 18 days away from a transition in the president's office. Oh. And that's, a lot of uncertainty starting at the end of this month.
Weighing on me. Well, also, I had a call today with someone. I was like, so do we think that there's going to be a war where we're going at that time? Because this is the weirdest thing, that because we travel so much for work, we have to pay attention politically what's happening in the world. It affects us on an actual economical level. It affects us on our work and it affects us safety-wise. And she said, well, then we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I said, okay, we're going to act as be it till you see it. Here we go.
Be it till you see it.
And so having an understanding of this, again, it's not a psychic thing. It can actually just validate, oh, I do feel like everything is in transition right now. And I have all this stuff happening in my houses. So it is. So it makes you feel, to me, less crazy. And, oh, I'm on the right path, or I can work with this. And so at the very least, you should listen to their podcast. And the episode we had to talk about Pluto, we went through every single, because we're talking to you as if you listened to it. We went through every single sun sign, which is the sign that you are born, the birth date, the one that the
one that you probably know.
You probably know
without really
because it's on the
anything
magazines
else.
And everything.
Right.
Oh, that's your sun sign.
Cancer, Capricorn,
based on your birth
Aquarius.
date. So you don't have to know the time or location you were born. You can just know your sun sign. We did that for both Pluto and Uranus. Yeah. So I would just say dabble in it. You can at least listen to their podcast and start to.
Yeah, Mom and Me Astrology.
Yeah. Because just to finish Brad's little point here, it's all part of a much bigger and larger cycle and plan.
Yeah. Stick around, because we're going to get into the beit. We certainly do. We're going to get into those beit action items that they laid out for us on the pod. We will be right back. All right, welcome back. So finally, let's talk about those beit action items. What bold, executable, intrinsic, or targeted action items can we take away from your convo with Mary and Kate Swick? I'm going to jump in first here. I am Cancer sun sign, so I was born under that. Cancer will be handed power, but may feel uncomfortable managing it or forming alliances. Cancer may hold taboo or secrets, needing to navigate private matters carefully. Interesting, because what we see happening next year is growth with the company.
Mhm.
And my
Mhm.
entire shift, my entire goal has been for us to grow OPC and begin to rub elbows with some other companies so that we can partner with them for marketing efforts and growth efforts
Mhm.
and collaboration and all this
Mhm.
stuff, but not on a local level, now on a national level, and eventually on an international level would be our grandiose goal. So I just find it really interesting. That may put me in an uncomfortable situation, which I get that. I could see how that I could be in a room with people who are running a conglomerate, and it might make me feel like imposter syndrome or whatever it might be.
And knowing that is helpful because then you go, okay, I'm going to feel this way, but I'm supposed to be here. I've been handed this power. And so I'm going to be uncomfortable. It doesn't mean I can't use this to my advantage.
Well, actually, so the cancers may hold taboo or secrets really well when navigating private matters. So, if you're maybe a therapist or you've got someone going through something, what I find really interesting is the environments that I came from were prone to secrecy because there was a lot of controversy in the work environment that I used to work in, right? And I already feel like prepared for this kind of a thing. There's definitely intimacy being heightened coming up, and then cancers are encouraged to prioritize therapeutic services because of it. And there's a couple of action steps here. It's time to reflect on my needs in relationships, and not just intimate relationships, but just relationships in general. And then also explore what fulfills me emotionally and physically. Therapeutic services will help me process and escape into healing activities like mental health walks or yoga, which is interesting because I totally was driven to that before when my life was incredibly stressful 10 years ago. I'm excited to see some of that stuff coming back around, and I'm excited to embrace it. So very interesting.
And if you are not an Aquarius, a Cancer,
Cancer, yeah.
or an Aquarius, because I'm going to go into mine, and you're like, but I'm another sign. We talked about it in the other episode.
We did talk about it.
But also, I think what's really cool over the next year and years, you're going to hear Brad and I talk about some things, and I think it's going to reveal itself how these things are evolving in our lives, because we're pretty open with you guys about what's going on with our lives and what's going on in business, what we're going through. And so, for example, I'm an Aquarius like Kate, and Pluto's an Aquarius. So we are here. And Aquarius requires you rebirthing yourself. And this is something that they talked about when they read my chart. It did come up. You may, as Aquarians, and this is if you're your sun sign and also your rising could be Aquarius. This could apply to you. Same goes for Cancer. It can be your sun sign or your rising sign. So you may experience a tightly packed, intense schedule. I literally made my assistant already send Brad a screenshot of Q1. Yeah. It's in Slack, babe.
I missed it.
It's about Belize. Are we sure we want to insert this into this quarter? Can we at all look at the next quarter for this Belize trip? And it's because it's already looking very full.
Yeah.
And we're not in it yet. And so it's coming through. And you'll hear in my FYFs, like, I'm really proud of myself because I did plan a birthday trip that doesn't need to happen, but I want it to happen. And yes, it adds to the intense schedule, but I want Brad to experience a beautiful place that I love. So anyways, it's going to be in a tightly packed, intense schedule. However, this can lead to big bucks or better bucks than what you've experienced in the past. And so now I'm like, okay, well, some of that schedule can stay. So Aquarians are encouraged to prioritize their health. I mean, I do, but you should. And if you haven't listened to the ads on this podcast, there's a lot of ways to prioritize your health here. Yep. And it's particularly in the reproductive and eliminative areas. And I just want to say, I've actually been focusing a lot. Ladies, if you're over 40, that means like talking about looking at your hormone health. It doesn't mean to have a baby. I'm just really focused on keeping my hormones as long as I fucking can. And then eliminative areas, it's look at your digestive system. That's what I'm saying. They also said for Aquarians, there's a need to differentiate yourself now, showing more creativity and innovation in how you dress or present yourself. Here's what's so funny. I'm already planning this photo shoot that we're going to do with Monica Linda from Girl Squad, because we're doing a photo shoot with the new decks and like to get some pictures for future tours. I bought the most amazing fur coat. And then I got this skirt that I showed you. And I want to update the podcast art and things like that. And if you haven't noticed, I've been wearing more regular clothes lately, you guys. And here's the thing. It's because I'm in a big transition.
Yeah.
I'm showing up. And they said, remind Aquarians, this is a big transition. So it does not happen overnight. So I think it's going to take all of 2025 for the newness to come, but in my chart reading as an Aquarius, they said like, you're going to have a new look. And I have been over this last year changing. I got rid of the eyelashes, right? And I've been practicing makeup and I've been practicing these different things. And I had started doing my nails and I'm fucking obsessed with these nails. If you're on YouTube, aren't they beautiful? They're more beautiful than when I came home. So at any rate, like if you're an Aquarian, we are the weirdo sign. We are the alien sign. We need to stop playing like, ooh, let me hide, I'm an alien. Let's be the weirdos and be the aliens because this is our time. It's not going to happen in your lifetime again. The last time Pluto entered Aquarius, it was the French Revolution, if I recall. That should have been
1700s.
That should definitely have been a forewarning.
The last spot, yeah.
So let's enjoy the next 20 years, Aquarians. Anyways, I hope that you enjoy this. I know it's a lot of information, but please, again, use the transcripts because that can help you. Sometimes reading it and hearing it and seeing it can help you with your sign. And let us know what takeaways you had for your sign. I want to share those. Instead of sharing the wins, I'll share what you took away from it. It's totally fabulous. And I'm really excited to hear how this helped you. They did a lot of research to help both planets. We are so lucky that we got that. If you do want your chart read by them, listen to what they said on that last podcast episode. I'm Lesley Logan.
And I'm Brad Crowell.
Thank you so much for listening. Hey, happy fucking New Year.
Happy New Year.
We didn't say that at the beginning.
We did not say that. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. I don't believe in resolutions. I believe in upgrades. Yep. Just like your phone. I say this all the time. Your phone just updates itself. And then you have the same phone with better systems. Yeah. And that's what every new year is to me. It's taking you and just making the systems better based on what you didn't like and what you did like. So share this with a friend who needs it. And until next time, be it till you see it.
Bye for now.
That's all I got for this episode of the Be It Till You See It podcast. One thing that would help both myself and future listeners is for you to rate the show and leave a review. And follow or subscribe for free wherever you listen to your podcast. Also, make sure to introduce yourself over at the Be It Pod on Instagram. I would love to know more about you. Share this episode with whoever you think needs to hear it. Help us and others be it till you see it. Have an awesome day.
Be It Till You See It is a production of the Bloom Podcast Network. If you want to leave us a message or a question that we might read on another episode, you can text us at +1 310 905 5534 or send a DM on Instagram at BeItPod.
It's written, filmed, and recorded by your host, Lesley Logan, and me, Brad Crowell.
It is transcribed, produced, and edited by the epic team at Diseño.co.
Our theme music is by Ali at Apex Production Music, and our branding by designer and artist Gianfranco Cioffi.
Special thanks to Melissa Solomon for creating our visuals.
Also to Angelina Herrico for adding all of our content to our website. And finally, to Meredith Root for keeping us all on point and on time.